Hello, our regular weekly updates about artificial intelligence, and this week is quite remarkable because OpenAI released their new model, O1, with PhD level of intelligence, which is actually true. So, and there is a lot of updates, as you can see, but let's first talk about OpenAI. They call it O1, and they also released O1 Mini. O1, it's actually O1 Preview. So if you are a paid subscriber in US, for example, you will have access. So I have access. This is my account in GPT Plus. And you see I have GPT-4o, I have O1 Preview, O1 Mini, and there are some other models. So today we tested, and here is example what I was giving it. Car break-in methods, it didn't answer. And I asked the standard question how it was done before, historically, and it didn't answer. So it has good security protection. And then I gave it a long list of news as a JSON file, asking it to remove duplicates and reorder them, and so on. And it did actually a very good job, which was quite amazing. Hold on a second. This is news summarizer, right? So it provided the list. We did this in June using GPT-4o, and it required multiple steps and cleaning and putting some like software harness around it. Here you just give one question, and it thought for 87 seconds. And you see it's like organizing news, releasing, identifying, determining, whatever. So it's a chain of thought process. Well, it's just summary of what it was doing. It doesn't show all the details, but it provides the output, and it's absolutely amazing. It's the game changer for like when you need systems which can actually think. So it's absolutely amazing. So here are some links. Well, first of all, there's a OpenAI announcement on OpenAI blog where it introduces the models, showing how they were trained and comparison with other model. So for example, competition math, you see this is GPT-4o and this is O1 preview, and this is O1, I don't know, maybe this is even better model which they have, and so on. So this is quite amazing development. Right, so next is if you go on YouTube and you just search for the model, you will see avalanche of videos where people testing it and they're all excited. So here, my favorite Matthew Berman, Strawberry is live. It's hour and a half. He was testing it live with thousands of people during the live session. GPT-01 is amazing, is insane. I really like this channel where she's a PhD from Europe, and she was trying to explain how the model actually works. OpenAI is very secretive about inner working, but they said that they're using reinforcement learning and they generate helper tokens and they follow the chain of thought process. Interesting that this is not news, like to use chain of thought. For the whole year, I remember Andrew Ng was talking about it on the conferences and in his newsletter and in his courses, that you may have a model which has accuracy, let's say 48%, you use chain of thought and suddenly you have like 80% or 90%. What's different here is that OpenAI actually implemented it out of the box in their system, right? But it's not just the primitive large language model. It's actually a system. It's a chain of thought system. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening inside. So it is model designed for handling complex multi-step problems, good for coding, math, science, has good reasoning skills, outperforms expert humans on PhD level science questions, ranks in 89th percentile for competitive programming. Solved 83% of this International Mathematical Olympiad qualifying compared to only 13% of GPT-4o. So 83% compared to 13. This is a huge difference. Security score, 84% versus 22. Again, huge difference. And yes, cost is high, but I've seen similar costs, for example, for Anthropic, Opus, or for GPT-4, and these costs, these prices went down in just months. So I'm pretty excited that next year we'll be using this model or similar model or even better model for everything easily. Now, next story is about Reflection 70B. It was announced last week. These two people created something in 3 weeks. They used a similar approach. They took the model, Llama 3 70B, and they fine-tuned it on examples how to think through the process of solving it. They were adding thinking and reflection tags. So it's kind of similar to what OpenAI was doing. And they claimed to achieve very good results, but then third party tried to reproduce their results and they couldn't reproduce it. So it created some scandal. And well, I don't know. They're trying to retrain and figure out why. So maybe it was not a fraud, maybe it was a mistake, but jury's out still on this. But it was very exciting development. Okay, scrape any website with Llama 3.1. So this is a YouTube video which shows how to do it. The interesting part is that usually when people were doing scraping, like I was doing scraping multiple times, you actually go into HTML with your bare hands and you dissect the output. But here the model does everything for you. You just tell it what you want, scrape this page, this side, and extract this and this information, and it just does it. Quite amazing. LinkedIn AI Hawk. So this is a job search assistant, and what it does, giving you information, it submits your resume to different jobs, and not just submits, it customizes your resume. It basically creates a separate, different resume for each job posting and submits it. So this is a GitHub repository. Next is AI already kills white-collar jobs, and robotics plus AI will kill blue-collar jobs. Yes, this is true. Andrej Karpathy, this is a very good interview. And one of the phrases he coined there that when he worked at Tesla, and then Tesla switched to robotics, and he said, well, it was easy because Tesla is not really a car company, it's a robotics company. It's AI robotics company. Elon Musk Colossus cluster. So he got 6 billion financing. So he raised this money to build this cluster, and he built it in about 4 months. And it has 100,000 Nvidia H100s. And they plan for next few months to double the size to reach 200,000 GPUs. If you compare it with their previous model Groq 2, it was trained only on 15,000. So compare 100,000 to 15,000. And compare with Meta. So Meta trained their Llama 3.1 on 16,000 GPUs. And now they're building the new cluster with 100,000 GPUs. So very similar numbers. Meta CRAG, which is comprehensive RAG benchmark. So from Meta, from Facebook. And this is a competition where different systems based on Llama 2 and Llama 3, different RAG systems compete, and they have a leaderboard where you can see the result. Well, not for this, because this competition has not finished yet, but they have many others. Apple iPhone 16 was released, and it's a nice iPhone. It has a new processor, which is A18, I think. Well, I haven't put it here. And it is 3 nanometer technology. It consumes less power. It's really great. But as far as AI, they only promising they will start releasing it in October. Interesting term is 4M, which stands for Massively Multimodal Masked Modeling. It is one of their major models, and they use it like in many places. Siri works better. It works with the Apple model and also can talk to OpenAI model. Okay, next is Salesforce. So this is a huge development because Salesforce is releasing their AI tools as part of their platform in October. And Salesforce is used by 90% of Fortune 500 companies. So it's a very common tool for any company which does sales, which means everybody. And companies have thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people sitting in front of the computers with Salesforce on these computers. And next month, suddenly, they will have AI agents helping them. And they have AI agents who can talk directly to the clients or prospects, or agents which can help a human salesperson to answer questions and so on. And they have hundreds of out-of-the-box capabilities which are customizable, already tuned for different industries. So this is huge thing. This is massive things, because before, if a company wanted to create some sort of a, let's say, sales chatbot or customer service chatbot, they had to either develop it or go somewhere. But now all they need to do is just click the button on the interface they already have. This is huge. This is absolutely huge development. Pixtral 12b. So Mistral created their first multimodal model, which is called Pixtral. It's based on Mistral NIM 12b. It's completely open source. It's not proprietary license. Mistral has their own license, but this model actually released under Apache 2.0 license, which is very permissive. Next, Honeycomb AI beats Amazon on this agent leaderboard. So this is a new system for software development. It is not open source, but it's really, really good. These are two founders of this company. And next, Groq 2. So Groq, well, it's a very famous website. They use their own hardware, their own chips, to do very fast inference of models. And in August, they released Groq 2. They don't sell those chips yet. Groq 1, they sell chips and boards and computers, but Groq 2 is only available at their website, and it's much better than the previous version. It is up to 8 times faster. Well, the version 2 was already very fast, and it supports multimodal models, and they say that speed improvements were achieved via better chip architecture, increased compute density, and better compiler. Anyway, this is good. Next is Ucom. I remember Richard Sorcher before, like he was a professor at Stanford, and I was learning from his lectures on word-to-vec and whatever NLP techniques. He's a very famous researcher, and then he was invited to Salesforce. Well, rather, Salesforce bought his startup and him. And so he and another person, also from Stanford and also from Salesforce, so they're co-founders of the new company called U.com. So, and this is basically a search engine, but it is AI enabled, and it has some very good personalized features and privacy security features. Very interesting startup. They received $50 million, just raised it. So, well, good luck and good speed. I mean, these are definitely qualified people, and let's see how it will develop. Chai Discovery. This company developed a model to predict three-dimensional shape of proteins, so given the sequence. And it works better than AlphaFold 3 from DeepMind, which is absolutely unbelievable because, DeepMind, Google is a huge company. They were doing this folding of proteins for many years, many versions. They achieved like state of the art, and suddenly this small company made something which is even better. So they just raised $30 million, and part of it coming from OpenAI. Okay, some more. Yeah, people were speculating that OpenAI will charge $2,000 a month for subscription. Doesn't seem like this. OpenAI is in talks to raise 6.5 billion in additional funding. Well, maybe find 405B. So this is a fine-tuned version of MetaLlama 31405B, and it achieved SOTA for programming and technical tasks. Well, it's open source, it's good. The first release is only 32K context length. So many models for coding now, and they all SOTA, so how to choose? LLaMA-Omni, a speech-language model based on MetaLlama 3.1, can process spoken instructions and generate both text and speech responses simultaneously. So this is a model, you can talk to it and it talks back, right? With very little latency, almost instantaneously. Okay, SambaNova Cloud. SambaNova, I spoke about this. So these are chips. So this is a picture of this chip, and they use multiple chip in sequence, like you have multiple layers in the transformer in the large language models, and they distribute the model weights among those chips. So as it does inference, it goes from one chip to another, then back, and so it goes back and forth, back and forth. So instead of using kind of well, GPU, it's completely different architecture. It's a multi-layer architecture. And they actually made a cloud which is built using computers with those chips, and they achieved a very high speed inference on them. So this is very good. DeepSeek version 2.5 was released. Everybody is worrying about it. It's really, really good. It's open source. It's available, so I probably will see how it will perform on the leaderboard. It's not on the leaderboard yet. European Court of Justice ordered Apple to pay back 14.4 billion in back taxes to Ireland. I don't know why I included it here. Okay, deep learning AI, there is a new course on multimodal RAG, chat and videos. Well, deep learning has several new courses this week. As usual, check their website. Time magazine excluded Elon Musk from its list of 100 most influential people in AI while featuring Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, I think this is actually a scandal because, of course, Elon Musk is such a prominent figure, and not including him as one of the top people, it's not right. Okay, next, Anthropic Claude artifacts. I used it multiple times. I love them. So you have your communication with the model, right? Your chat on, let's say, on the left, and on the right you have this window with artifacts, and it shows you result. You can build code snippets, web pages, interactive web pages with JavaScript and CSS. Mermaid diagrams. This is a kind of a JavaScript thingy. It has certain syntax, so you can read the code and then you can click on it to show the diagram itself. In fact, I used not just Mermaid, but other types of diagrams, and it works beautifully. And diagrams may be interactive, so you can drag pieces on them. You can generate documents, markdown formatted docs, SVG images, React components, and so on. So Anthropic Claude artifacts is very, very useful tool. Jim Fan, how to fool LLM benchmarks. So this is a post on Twitter, which is really, really great. The idea is, you see more than 100,000 views in just few days. What it says is that you can train the model on the benchmarks so that it is not detectable. So you can train on paraphrased examples of test set. LLM Decombinator paper from LMSys found that you can beat GPT-4 with 13B model if you do that. It is easy to game LLM Decombinator as well. It only checks for paraphrasing, but you can use any frontier model to generate new questions with similar logic. You can also prompt engineer the heck out of the generated full LLM decombinator. Increasing influence time almost always helps. So self-reflection, simple majority voting, these are essentially ensemble methods, and so on. Yes, so that's why I stopped trusting benchmarks like a year ago. But I do trust the leaderboard because there are a lot of people, independent voting, and you cannot beat that. Okay, model collapse. We spoke about it before. If you train the model on synthetic data which was generated by the same model or some other model, gradually produce low quality outputs. Because what happens, original data has a lot of noise, a lot of outliers, but the distilled model will only have like the most common, like statistically average. It kind of averages, it smooths down the knowledge, and a lot of richness disappears. So this cycle worsens with each iteration of retraining, leading to what is called model collapse. Ref checker, standardized assessment to identify hallucinations. So this is a GitHub and YouTube. Okay, Alexis Kono, I'm not sure how to pronounce. So he is one of the OpenAI research leads for ChatGPT 4o audio, and he is leaving the company to launch a startup. So there were a lot of people who were leaving OpenAI, and this is yet another person left, one of the leaders of the company. DocAI extracts structured information from documents. So this is a GitHub, how to do it. iText2KG, Python package uses LLM to extract entities and relationships from text, incrementally building consistent knowledge graphs. Again, GitHub repository. Okay, next. Nvidia ecosystem. A recruiter contacted me, and there was a job description which required knowledge of Nvidia ecosystem, which I never worked with it, but I just decided to make a list. So, for example, Nvidia NIM, which is AI microservice to deploy or run models. Nvidia Metropolis, developer tools for visual AI. Nvidia NeMo, open source platform for building custom generative AI models, part of Nvidia AI Foundry. Nvidia Riva, speech and translation microservices. Nvidia Triton inference server. Well, this is quite well known because, for example, Mistral was running their models using this server, and Mistral is working with Nvidia quite closely. That's why they have Mistral NeMo model on LLaMA. Nvidia Visual Insight Agent, workflows for building AI agents to process videos and images using vision language models. Okay, next is Intel AMX. So Intel created something called advanced matrix extensions, and it is part of their big Xeon CPUs. So these CPUs may be $10,000 for just one chip. And this is actually low, like it may be $30,000 for one chip. So this is CPUs which used on servers, and these CPUs now may have this AMX feature, and they can provide much better performance for large language models, but you need to use software which supports this hardware, and it's very expensive, as you can see. Google Data Gemma RAG and RIG 27B models. So Google released something open source on Hugging Face. So you see the logos. So these are two models. What is it? So you have Gemma, which is the open source model, and you use it with the big data set. So, which is called Data Commons. So it's a vast open source repository of public statistics, trust organizations like United Nations, Center of Disease Control, and so on. And there are two models which they provide. So one is RIG and another is RAG. So RAG is basically a regular retrieval augmented generation, right? Where you pull data from some database. In this case, it's data commons. But rig is where you fine tune the model. So on the same data, and then just use it as is. So you don't have to access the database. And they provide them as already pre-trained and ready to use on GitHub. Okay, next, assistants. We have Amazon Alexa, which is like Echo devices, and it's also available on different devices. So now it uses Anthropic Claude, so it became much smarter. Apple Siri, it uses Apple's proprietary model, and then it can also go to OpenAI as needed. Google Assistant existed since 2016. So this is example of Google Home. I actually had this at my kitchen. But now, as Google Gemini becomes available, so there will be a transition and probably Google Assistant will stop to exist at some point. And now if you have it on your phone, you don't have to use it because you can just download Google Gemini app and use it instead. It's better. Microsoft Copilot works on multiple devices and so on. Okay, Crowdsource Arena, there were no updates this week, so it's still September 4th, the latest update. I looked at Glassdoor for the salaries for somebody like me, and you see this is for New York, chief data scientist. So we're talking chief data scientist, senior director, senior vice president, about 320,000 per year. It's the medium salary. And yeah, this is interesting. Tech layoffs, September just started, not many layoffs. Okay, this is me, and thank you.